Alright guys, this one's gonna sting a little because what I'm about to tell you might change the way we look at the 2026 Dodgers. Some familiar faces, guys we've watched take the field day after day, players who've made big plays and real memories in Dodger blue, might not be coming back next season. Yeah, we're talking about 9 Dodgers who will not be back in 2026. And trust me, some of these names are going to shock you. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button and help us reach 10,000 subscribers. This is the home for real Dodgers fans, for people who live and breathe this team every single day. So get ready, because this list is going to surprise a lot of people. Let's jump into it. Brought to you by Dodgers Territory.
Good, we feel locked in. Dodgers making moves. Dodgers World Series champion. Dodgers are going to have a few people that were pretty bad on the team last year not be a part of the team in 2026. Fun one kicks us off. And you guys saw it as a thumbnail. I wasn't going to not lead us off with the joy of Michael Conforto not being on this roster. Terrible season. The Dodgers will be looking to get younger and more athletic in the outfield, however they can. One option, apparently, Ryan Ward. But they'll be looking also to somebody who could hit the baseball, hopefully. And that it was not Michael Conforto. Not to say he can't figure out and remember how to hit a baseball in 2026, but it will not be with the Dodgers. That's $17 million, $17.5 million off the books there. Thank you for being the placeholder for Kike Hernandez in the postseason, Mikey. Don't let the door, you guys know the rest. I'm not going to be mean to the guy. But there's your first one. Of a list of 9, Michael Conforto will not be around next year. No shocker there. The next one is also going to be a cheapie, an obvious one. Clayton Kershaw will not be around next year. Don't worry, the list gets better. These are easy ones to get us going. Easy ones to fill the assignment that I decided to set a number of 9 when everybody else was doing 5 or 6. I wanted 9 because I'm weird. But Clayton Kershaw will not be back in 2026 because he's retiring. He told us that. He is hanging up the spikes. Hell of a career for 22 there. 18 seasons, 11 All-Star games, 3 Cy Young Awards, 3 World Series title, National League MVP, so many other things on that list. Of course, you see it there on the screen. If you're watching, over 3,000 career strikeouts, Roberto Clemente Award winner, 5-time ERA title winner. Hell of a career for 22. And we thank you for your service. And enjoy retirement, my friend, even though he's not my friend. I wish he was my friend. He's a nice guy. Moving on. All right, the first fun one. I'm going to call it more of a fun one. It's Kirby Yates. There's a few ways to go with this one. Paramount is performance. The Dodgers will be looking to improve upon the 5 ERA that he posted in the bullpen last year. He's currently a free agent. Chances are he's the other side of it. He might be retiring. He's kind of alluded to that. He mentioned that it was non-committal in the post game, post World Series celebration and interviews. 39. Goes out with the ring on his finger. It makes sense for him to kind of just hang up the spikes here. Either way, he's not coming back. The Dodgers need somebody better in that bullpen. They may be opting to look at the big name free agents. We have seen according to Alden Gonzalez, who covers the team and other teams, Major League Baseball for the ESPN, says the Dodgers are expected to be really aggressive in pursuit of a high leverage bullpen arm. Not shocking in the slightest. We have seen that Edwin Diaz of the Mets has opted out of his deal. Robert Suarez of the Padres has opted out of his deal. Dodgers love to make some trades. They do have some pieces they could trade away to facilitate a trade for a reliever, and relievers are much cheaper in the offseason than they are at the trade deadline. As we saw, Padres paid a butt ton in prospect capital, or at least in prospect talent, to land Mason Miller last trade deadline. And the Dodgers weren't willing to do that. They were willing to go with Brock Stewart, and that was about it. Dodgers can also kind of fill internal, at least this Kirby Yates spot. That's not to say they won't still be active, looking for a high leverage, a proven high leverage arm. But if you're looking at internal options, Ben Kasparius should be better after another season of growth, and hopefully the Dodgers sticking him in one role and kind of leaving him there. We'll have more conversations about the bullpen and some of the arms and who goes where as the offseason continues. Kyle Hurt will be returning from injury. I'm a big-time Kyle Hurt guy. I'm a big-time believer that Kyle Hurt belongs in the bullpen rather than the starting rotation, although they may give him a shake in the rotation to start the year, start in spring training. And, the Dodgers also, if we're talking about some just random internal guys that are on the 40-man roster, they could try, Bobby Miller, honestly, in the bullpen. It was sort of okay, we are at our wits' end with you last year where they moved Bobby Miller to the bullpen. Anyways, again, this is taking us off track. The point is, Yates will not be back. We'll talk more bullpen in a future edition of the show. But Kirby Yates is number 3 on that list of 9 Dodgers who will not be back in 2026. Moving on. Just talked about him. Bobby Miller, mentioned him as a Kirby Yates replacement, but he also may be a trade candidate or more likely a non-tender candidate because the Dodgers, as I said at the top of the show there, when you're adding somebody like Ryan Ward, they already had a roster crunch. They just added another body they need to put on that 40-man roster. But they have an insane roster crunch on their hands. Even after 7 players became free agents following the World Series, they need, I think it's 2 roster spots by 3 this afternoon, 2 or 3 this afternoon. I don't know the full logistics of it, but guys are coming off of the 60-day IL, and they are going to need legitimate roster spots. The thing about Bobby Miller, he is still young. He is still cheap. He still has options. But he has also proven that he struggles to get hitters out consistently. And note that I did not just say major league hitters. It is hitters, batters. People with a bat in their hand, period. Minor leagues, he also struggled here and there. If we get down to the roster crunch, I wouldn't be shocked at all if they opt to pivot off of Bobby Miller rather than cut somebody like a Will Klein or Michael Grove, who's returning from injury. Those guys are both on the 40-man roster. It just makes more sense to me, at least, for that move to be Bobby Miller because I think there are greener pastures elsewhere for Bobby, and the time is now to move on, or at least the time is this offseason. The non-tender deadline is in early mid-December. So look at Bobby Miller as somebody who could be gone from this team soon, definitely ahead of the 2026 season. So there's 4 guys, a little under halfway through that list. Let's get into the next guy, Tony Gonsolin. Catman, Tony Smokes. Gonsolin, of course, returned from Tommy John surgery this season. He pitched to a 5 ERA over 7 starts. Never looked right at any point. Ended up undergoing a second surgery late in the season that should keep him out for at least half of 2026. That's at best. 2 reasons, in my opinion, the Dodgers could non-tender him. I don't think they release him now to create these roster spots. I think we have other guys like Justin Dean I initially had on this list. I don't know that they release or cut Justin Dean yet, but he is an option. But he is not, breaking news, a spoiler, Justin Dean is not on this list of 9 Dodgers who will not be back in 2026. But with Gonsolin, the reason I believe the Dodgers will eventually non-tender him is he's been passed up on the rotation depth chart by a handful of guys. I saw somebody in the chat mentioning Gavin Stone returning. But yeah, assuming everybody is healthy, let's say in August by next year, or by August of next year, the Dodgers would have an insanely stacked rotation and even other guys who could potentially be starters. You have some names that will be tried out as starters, at least in spring training. Even if I don't agree with them, I believe this is what the team will do. But looking at that 2026 rotation, you already have it pretty locked in with Yoshi at the top there, Blake Snell, Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Emmett Sheehan, Gavin Stone. There are your 6 if you're just laying it out right now. Those are the 6 dudes I believe break camp with the team in the rotation. Roki Sasaki, of course, saved the Dodgers bacon in the postseason as a reliever. I do think they they will put him back in the rotation because that's what you pay him for. That's what you try to get out of him. So Roki Sasaki will be back in the rotation, trying that out. River Ryan is also coming back from a surgery. Kyle Hurt, I already mentioned him. I think he is a better reliever, but they will probably be trying him, building him up as a starter just to have a little bit more depth there. Same with Ben Kasparius and Justin Wroblewski, two guys who have started a fair amount in their career. I'll throw in Landon Knack there. We don't need to talk a whole lot about Landon Knack, but he is somebody who is on the roster. I don't think they cut him. He still has options. He's still young, cheap, and controllable and can give the team length. So he'll be around. Kyle Hurt, going back to that list, Kyle Hurt should be a reliever. Ben Kasparius, Justin Wroblewski, we saw it. Those guys are relievers. For this exercise, will force them to be starters. So, again, the reason I believe they non-tender Tony Gonsolin is so many other guys are better than him, healthier than him, more available than him, and there's just plainly not a role. There's no room on the roster for the Catman. So he will be non-tendered because the other part, the second caveat, or the second of the two-parter here that tells me the Dodgers will non-tender Tony Gonsolin is you're saving roughly $5 to $6 million in payroll next year, and they could use that for, I don't know, one of those relievers they might sign. A Robert Suarez and Edwin Diaz. It's not going to be Diaz. Sorry to spoil your offseason. It will not be Edwin Diaz. Somebody else like I don't know, Kyle Tucker. Hey, come on down if they're going to go that route with it. Anyways, there's that. We got more lists coming up. First, I want to take a break so the folks over at Foul Territory can tell you to my list. We got four more. Good at math. Hashtag math, baby, as you guys know, from all Dodgers. Eventually probably be a shirt. I got another kind of softie to get us restarted here, an easy one. Just because he was on the roster for some reason, it made no sense. But Andrew Heaney, I barely understand why they signed him heading into September. He was technically eligible to be on the postseason roster. I understand even less why they called him up to pitch in a game late in the season. You had other options to eat innings. Anyways, he's a free agent, and this is a cheapy name to fill the assignment, which was that I created the number. I decided to make it a list of 9 to be different, and I threw in Andrew Heaney to make that quota. So anyways, moving on. This is a tough one to me. Ben Reutevet. Hear me out. Ultimately, it comes down to 3 things. He does not have options next year. Dalton Rushing will be the backup to Will Smith in 2026, and the Dodgers are, again, stop me if you heard me already say this a few times, they are battling a 40-man roster crunch. The Dodgers are battling a roster crunch this offseason. They have no room to even sign free agents at this point, so dudes are going to need to be moved off of that roster. Now, there's an outside chance he could re-sign on a minor league deal, but I feel a solid, that really solid September might have opened the eyes of other big league ball clubs, given him a shot to either be a starter or more likely be a backup for their main guy. So I feel bad. I feel bad for Benny Biceps, Ron Rorvatelt if you're nasty. But rest easy, Sweet Prince. You are a champion. You got a ring on that finger, my friend. And the second to final name on this list is Estéury Ruiz, and I believe even more so when I wrote some of these names out last night. It's not off the top of my head. Spoiler alert. I think Ruiz makes even more sense to be off of the roster with the Ryan Ward news of the day. Ruiz does have an option year left in 2026. That plays in his favor, but when it comes to the ability he brings to the table as a baseball player, it is speed and end of list. The Dodgers will end up with some other minor league outfield options. They're going to sign some dudes this winter, non-roster invitees. They're going to act as depth for the major league team, guys that come up for 10 or 15 games while somebody's hurt. And it's reasonable to think and to expect that they would be better than Estéury Ruiz. Also, I just hate saying the name. It's a tough name. Estéury Ruiz. All right, I made it even worse. It is worth mentioning. Let's take a step back if we're talking about the roster. Some people might not know. Some people might be confused or just didn't look it up. It's worth noting, Alex Call is still under team control for 2026. So if the season started today, it's pretty funny. He would technically be the starting left fielder. That's neither here nor there. But it doesn't mean they don't need to make a big splash in the outfield this offseason. That's more conversation we'll have at a different point in time, talking about free agency a lot more, starting next week. So those are 8 names, and then we get to the final one, the Nostradamus conclusion, and it's a cheater, another cheater here. We end on the toughest one, really, of the list. One of Miguel Rojas or Kike Hernandez will not be on the roster next year. This is my prediction. This is just what I assume. Looking again at how this roster is constructed, heading into this offseason, there just might not be room for both in 2026. Tommy Edman and Haesung Kim will both be on the roster. They're both going to be battling for playing time and at second base and utility, maybe some outfield in there. At least that's what the Dodgers are going to be hoping for sure. The front office, we know, is going to be very active in trying to add an impact bat in the outfield. And I'll say it again, Alex Call is under team control, so there's another right-handed bat on the roster taking away space for potential Kike Hernandez or Miguel Rojas playing time, just purely being a right-handed bat. If you want to run it back again next year, you need to get better. We saw some holes in this lineup, saw some holes offensively in the postseason. You could win. You can win adding some role players for sure, but impact players help you run it back. Not just a bunch of role players. Just a thought I wanted to get out there. Talking about the two guys, diving into both, what Miggy Rowe, what Kike Hernandez bring to the table. Miggy Rowe is the best player coach this team has. He's an electric defender, even getting on into his mid-30s now. Can still just put it down with the glove and the arm. We saw that in this World Series. And as we all now know, watching this World Series, watching this postseason, he's got a little bit of that clutch gene in the bat as well. Huge homer to help the Dodgers get on into a World Series. Win their 9th World Series, really, I should say. He's let it be known he wants to play one more season. He wants it to be with the Dodgers. He told my buddy Doug McCain that a number of weeks ago on his podcast. He also just told Chris Rose over on John Boy that he wants to play one more season. He is backtracking the idea that he wants to retire. I said on Monday I think the Dodgers find a way to get a deal done pretty quickly with Miguel Rojas, keep him around. Mookie Betts loves him. That roster, that clubhouse loves Miggy Rowe. After the Dodgers won the World Series, talking to Ross Stripling, he had nothing but great things to say about Miggy Rowe, both from his little bit of experience playing with him in the Dodgers organization, but more so from hearing from guys in that clubhouse, the way he's able to bring everybody together. Honestly, Miggy Rowe, there's something to him, man. He's got a little bit of a vibe. He's a dude you want to bring to a party because he's going to bring everybody together. With the Dodgers, they've made tough decisions before. We saw them this year in particular. Austin Barnes being cut, Chris Taylor being cut mid-season. They let Justin Turner walk. They non-tendered Cody Bellinger. The list goes on. You can see them maybe being okay letting somebody like Miguel Rojas, Miggy Rowe, decided to go both ways with it. Letting him walk, I don't think they go that route. I think they find a way to re-sign him. And let's talk about Kike, getting ahead of myself a little bit there. Kike, we know he brings the vibes, he brings versatility, and then kind of not much else until the postseason, when it counts the most, which is huge. It's massive for the team. It's massive for a ball club that already knows they're going to make the postseason. But for Kike, this coming winter, and the Dodgers, it just might not be enough to say, don't worry, I'll show up in September and October. Don't worry about what I do in between. If I were a gambling man, I'd wager that that the curtain is coming to a close for Kike a second time. I'm not saying I like it, but it might be a reality. So there's your list of 9. If I wanted to cheat and make it 10, maybe Justin Dean is thrown in there as well. Let me know. Do you guys agree with it? Disagree with it? I'm interested in knowing what people have to say. Obviously, there's a lot of people in the chat right now who have shared their thoughts, and I appreciate you. I might not be able to get into all of these right now because there's so much to catch up on. I appreciate everybody's input on it. If you're watching this after the fact, let me know, or even listening, at me, at RealFRG, or at the Dodgers territory, LAD territory on Twitter. Let me know what you think of the list. If you agree, you disagree, that's what I would like to know. In the interest of moving the show along and making sure we still do our part to help out Alana and the Doggos, it's time for Last Licks.